So this is a presentation on the rugby tornado and tornadoes in general. So let's start.
Can you tell us about the moment that you saw the tornado hit?
Well, I started getting whistling through my door, and then the door started shaking, so I turned to look out my kitchen window and I could see a dirty dark cloud just circling round, and everything just seemed to be spiralling with it. Dirt was getting thrown up against the window. My son was in the kitchen with me, so I pushed him through the kitchen door thinking my back door was actually going to come off. Went through to my partner, who said things had been bouncing off the front room window. By the time we come back through, it had finished. We opened the back door to find our whole patio area up at the back of our back door, our fence panels down. It was a mess. We went outside and everybody was coming out of their houses not knowing what had happened.
Was it scary?
Yeah, I actually thought there was a partial moment where my kitchen could have been taken, which is why I flicked off my cooker and just shoved the baby into the house.
Was it noisy?
Very, very. It actually sounded like the kitchen itself was tremoring.
And did it look like a tornado?
I'd say yes. I wasn't sure what it was to start with. I thought it was a very, very strong gust of wind, but the fact that I could see it showed how intense it was. But it was only the fact of seeing the aftermath that actually made me realise we've had a tornado.
And then obviously it damaged your roof. At what point did you realise that you were going to have to leave the house for the night?
Well, we noticed the roof damage when we'd gone outside because we saw everybody else's and they pointed out there was actually damage to ours. We came out into the garden and noticed a big hole in our neighbour's roof. So my partner went upstairs and had a look and found 3 holes. In the process then we rang up our insurance, who couldn't help us. Even emergency services wouldn't come out that night. The fire brigade wouldn't help us cover it over. The council wouldn't, because we're not a council property. Even though we're a young couple, we might have a mortgage, but we haven't got, money coming out to be able to do it on an emergency. And a friend came round and sort of taped it up for the night, and we had to go elsewhere just in case rain came through.
And how were the children?
Kira says that a naughty wind ruined our garden, and Sila was just wondering what the bang was on the window. They weren't too sure what actually went on.
And are you hoping to be able to get back into the house this evening?
Hopefully, but probably not, as we've just found out we could be waiting just over a week to actually get any repairs even started by a surveyor.
Quick explanation of how tornadoes form. Here in East Tennessee, we average about 4 a year. Back across the middle part of the United States, in an area called Tornado Alley, they can see thousands per year, but they generally form the same way. Cold, dry air moving in from the west, warm, moist air coming in from the south. The combination of these causes the air to rotate in the mid-levels. Eventually, what will happen is this rotating air will turn from a horizontal direction to a vertical direction within the thunderstorm itself. This is called the updraft of a thunderstorm. Let's slice this storm in half, get a little bit better view of this. Again, what will happen, the updraft within the storm rotates over time. It rotates faster and faster, and eventually what will happen from this rotating storm, you'll get a lowering or a rain-free area of the cloud that's called the wall cloud. From that wall cloud descends the actual funnel itself. Once that funnel touches the ground, that's when you officially have a tornado.
I'm meteorologist Flip Spiceland. If you watch the news or popular movies, you'd think that tornadoes hit only trailer parks in Kansas or the Deep South. But that's just not the case. In fact, tornadoes can hit anywhere. That's why it's good to be prepared. If you're in a house, avoid windows. If there's a basement, go there. Most injuries in tornadoes are caused by flying debris. So protect yourself by getting under a heavy table or covering yourself with a mattress or a sleeping bag. If your home doesn't have a basement, go to the lowest floor and into a small centrally located room, like a bathroom or a closet. Crouch as low as possible to the floor, facing down, and cover your head with your hands. If you're in a mobile home or in a car, get out. Seek shelter in a sturdy building. If you can't find one, lie flat, face down on low ground, protecting the back of your head with your arms. Stay under cover until warnings have lifted. Remember, if your weather forecaster tells you about a tornado in your area, take it seriously. They're not just blowing hot air.
So you may be wondering, what is inside a tornado? What's inside the eye? What's the weather like? Well, I can tell you how, using this tornado machine. So, we simply plug it in and watch the magic happen. Obviously it starts to spin and then eventually forms down, creating this long spout. So, what is it like in the eye? Well, we can actually go have a look at what it is like. So, this is it. Now obviously in a real tornado there wouldn't be any flashing colours or lights, but that's just to make it look cooler. So, what is it then? Well, if you look right down to the bottom, yeah, that's not water there, that's complete air. So for instance, if I was to do this, it stays completely dry. But why is it that then people get soaked up? Well, let's have a look. If you look on the outside, you can actually physically see it. But the inside's so calm and there's nothing inside it. Well, it's because you don't just end up in the middle of a tornado. You go into it, or it goes into you, and then you spin on that outside part. So if a tornado was to form over you, would you survive? The answer, no. Well, because the outside part, the spout, that's spinning so fast that it's actually causing wind to start spinning inside, which means that all the air is being sucked out, which basically means that you're just going to go right into the outside part.